This is Earth Path Crystals and I am White Fawn. Today we are going to be discussing Carnelian, and I have quite a few examples for you today. This is an example of some banding on some Carnelian, and I don't know if you can see it in my camera shot or not, but there is some shadow Yancy to this piece that's quite nice. Now I also have red Carnelian. And this piece is nice because it shows a lot of the different kind of fiery colors. You have the oranges and the real intense deep reds in there. And we can get real dark and even have this beautiful brown color in a piece of Carnelian. It's a really lovely dark piece. If you are getting a piece for your black light, I think you should go with this though. So if you got a black light case at home, this is my recommendation. Now this little guy, he's got this cute little geode, and you see all these beautiful cream colors. Those are really going to make all the little botryoidal surfaces pop when you put this under your black light. So you can't even see them all in regular lighting, but there's all these whirls and swirls and veins that will pop out of this when you put it under your black light. And I'll show you the reason why. I have one of my little raw pieces here. When your carnelian forms, it actually has this bumpy botryoidal surface with all these lumps and bumps and curves. And when it is polished, the curves are polished off, but that patterning that the crystal makes is still there under the surface. And this piece will definitely show that under your black light. Now, carnelian is a chalcedony. Now, this made it very prized in old times as a stamp for clay as well as a wax seal because it has a very shiny non-stick surface. So the waxes and the clays wouldn't stick to it, and it was used to stamp people's personal names, emblems, etc. so they would know, oh, this letter came from so-and-so, it has the official seal. If you're going to use this for elemental work, my recommendation would be to use it to represent fire. And that's because, one, it's a great representation, again, because of the color. Look at this beautiful reds and oranges. It's very reminiscent of fire. But also because the energy lends itself to fearlessness. And the quote that I think of when I think of carnelian is from Joseph Campbell, and that is, "The influence of a vital person vitalizes." And carnelian just bursts with the kind of energy that's associated with fire and action and movement and the youth of life that's vital. So being that it's a chalcedony, it's great to work with this with other agates. Now I have some other agates here. This one is the Mexican lace or crazy lace agate. And this one is orca agate. And this one is called a flower agate, which is a type of plume agate. If you like the energy of carnelian, you will probably like the energy of the agates too. So I very much recommend you play with those. I also have with me today my malachite and my angelite, and that's because I find them useful working with carnelian. Their energies are very different, but they do work nicely. So the main thing that carnelian was used for traditionally was protection. Protection. So they would use it in a ring and they would carve wheat stalks in it and use it to keep away the evil eye. And it was also used in adorning the dead. There's been mummies that have been found and they have these massive carnelian necklaces on, or even just carnelian was left with the sarcophagi as a protection in death. The other main use of carnelian is healing. Every single thing you read anywhere will tell you healing. Carnelian is great for healing. Other properties are analysis, perception, awakening your talents, easing away anger, stability in the home especially, strength alongside softness, courage, self-worth, and fearlessness. So the word carnelian comes from the fruit cornel, which was a type of cherry that we no longer have. And it was later changed in the Latin to carnelian with an A instead of an O in reference to flesh, like in carnivore. So this plus healing lends it to being a very good talisman because you have the connection to the cherry fruit, which is a symbol of abundance. It's a symbol of fertility. It's a symbol of love and symbol of blood. And then carn being connected to flesh. And it's, as I said, connection to healing. It's a great talisman for people in pregnancy, whether they're trying to conceive, they have conceived, or even after the birth and you're healing and you're getting over some of the trauma of birth. Carnelian is a great stone for them, and I think would make a great gift for any woman that works with energy who is pregnant. If you were going to use carnelian in color magic, I would use it to represent orange, and you can use it to represent fire, or you could use it like in candle magic. Orange is used as a depression aid. It just kind of uplifts, makes you happy, and it is very often connected, both this stone and the color orange, to the sacral chakra. So those would be my recommendations for use for the color orange in color therapy and color magic. Other uses in the home would be as a sexual stimulant. Now I would take a carnelian and I would take a flower agate or any plume agate, and I'd leave it by your bedside. And I would do that if I was specifically working with fertility energy or fertility magic. Now, the other thing you can do if you just want to do sexual magic, just do the carnelian by itself. But these two would be great for in the bedroom work, leaving those by your bedside. Carnelian is cool because it can be used for the root, the sacral, the solar, and the heart chakra. Now, if you were going to use it for the root, you would be using it to kind of brave the naysayers. You know, anybody who might have negative criticism or just a bad attitude, it could be good for that because it's going to boost your stamina. It's going to give you that energy boost that you need. And it is a stone that is good for any kind of pursuit. So this would be a great stone. You could take a piece like this and have it in your office, just setting on your desk. Or you could take it and have it in a red cloth or a red box and have it in a drawer. Or wear it in a piece of jewelry. And that would be really great for that kind of a situation or scenario. And that's how I would use it for your root chakra work. Now, moving on to the sacral chakra. As I said before, very much connected to creativity. It has a huge connection with the sacral chakra. It's probably one of the most used stones for that specifically. The other thing that you can use the carnelian for when it comes to sacral work is creativity. So you can take a piece like this and put it on your writing desk, or, you know, take some little pieces and set them in your easel and just put them wherever you need to kind of bring out that creativity in yourself, however you choose to express yourself creatively. Moving on to the solar plexus, I would take a carnelian piece and my Mexican lace agate, and I would hold these right at the solar plexus. Now, this is going to have that energy of power. It's going to have that reaffirming energy of old interests, kind of bringing about maybe some things that are true to yourself, some things you've forgotten about, pieces of yourself that could be meaningful or necessary in the work that you're doing, and just kind of, you know, pumping up that personal power. And I would visualize beams of light like the sun coming down to myself, coming down into my solar plexus, and just breathing in that energy, that fire, and just filling yourself with those colors of fire and of energy, the golds and the reds and the yellows and the oranges, and just breathe it all in and then release any and all lethargy, fatigue, stress, any of those things, just breathe them out. And you could even choose a color to match that feeling as black or blue. And it doesn't always have to be visualized. It could simply just be breath work too, breathing into the stomach and then breathing back out of the stomach. Now, to work with your heart, this is a stone that works well for compassion, the language of nature, and the language of love. So this is very much connected to energies involved in instinct and intuition and telepathy. And I would put that with malachite, which is also very much connected to the heart chakra, very much connected to those same intuition and instinct energies, and with a little bit of your angelite. Use these together, just have them present with you. And then and you could even practice, doing some psychic writing. So much like using a Ouija board or spirit board, you can actually just move your hand on your paper with a pen and just let yourself intuitively go and make whatever shapes come. Relax yourself. Don't even really think about what you're doing, and work on eventually having your writing implement start giving you a message of some sort. And some people do circles, figure eights. They might choose a letter, and try and do some practice that way with some psychic writing exercises. So if you were going to use it to grid, instead of doing a small grid design, say on your altar or in a sacred circle or however, I would take your carnelian with your angelite and I would place little pockets of carnelian and angelite around your house and use this as a line of protection, because this would be for both psychic and physical protection. And you could create areas of your house and actually encircle your house with those stones in little places here and there. Just hide them in little nooks and crannies. And that's how I would use it in a gridding sense, is I would use it for a protective circle. Now, one of my favorite myths is about the name of carnelian that the Egyptians used to call it, which is Isis blood. So Isis, this is probably a story many of you are not familiar with, and this is one of my favorite stories. Isis was originally not a goddess. She was a mortal. She was a mortal woman. And she tricked Ra into letting him tell her his secret name. So what she had done was she had taken Ra's saliva and she turned it into a snake that would be venomous enough to harm him. So this snake was placed in his path, and when he was struck by it, she said, "I won't help you unless you tell me your name." And thus she gained her power from the sun god Ra by knowing his name and became immortal. So she very much was kind of a Prometheus type archetype. So as Prometheus stole the fire from the gods and brought it back to, mankind and helped them by taking their power, she very much was revered in the same sense. She took power from the gods and she brought it back and kind of became this savior person, because she would aid humans in many things, and she was considered a goddess of love and of mercy. And this kind of reflects carnelian's sense of adventure and the courage and the fearlessness. So it is very much a stone that, has this kind of epic energy to it, of that fearlessness and bravery and courage. So if you are wondering what you would use this for in a career sense, my recommendations would be public speaker, actor, or in sales. And the reason for this is that it really like boosts up your energy, it bolsters courage, it helps you build your self-worth, and it helps with eloquence as well. So it's very good for those positions. So here's your key words for carnelian. Courageous healer, energetic protector. So courageous healer, I kind of made it sound like it's a person. Maybe that's because of the Isis influence that I'm kind of digging, getting a kick out of. It's a stone that it boosts your courage. It's a stone that's super connected to healing. It's used in a lot of healing practices. Energetic protector. It boosts your energy, and it is used a lot in protection work. Courageous healer, energetic protector. So what I want to leave you with today is a little exercise in opening up your chakras for Kundalini. So Kundalini is when all your chakras are moving, they're at the right amount of energy, and your chakras kind of move like gears. And what you will do with the orca agate here, or a blue lace agate, would be fantastic as well. You can use these for your heart, your throat, your third eye, and your crown chakra, whereas carnelian you can use for your root, your sacral, your solar, and your heart. And just meditate on those and kind of have, the visualization of the double serpent and the energy going through your body, and open yourself up into an ecstatic state. For cleansing, what I would do with carnelian is I would use it to cleanse your other stones. It's a stone that does not need to be cleansed, but it can be used to cleanse other things. And because of its connection to flesh and healing and protection, I would use it especially if you are someone who is a massage worker, someone who does massages, if you are someone who does grid work on the body and you do stone layouts, or even if you're using it for your regular gridding stones, it would be great for that, for cleansing them. And carnelian is another stone that absolutely loves to be charged in the sun. So I'd like it very much if you could just let me know about your experiences, especially about what I was talking about with using it to open up your chakras and do Kundalini work. And if you have any other just kind of experiences about stones and crystals that you've used for Kundalini work in the past, please leave it in the comments below. I very much want this to be an open forum for people to communicate, be educated, and learn from each other. So please leave a comment. Let me know what kind of work you have done with the Kundalini and chakras and opening up all 7. And I'll see you next time.